Systems map comes from the systems thinking or systems leadership tradition and is a method to help people surface all the different relationships and components that might be at play in a system that you're wanting to change, to really surface those things that especially people aren't aware of when it comes to loops or relationships that are undermining the direction that you're wanting to go. At its simplest, it's really just about getting people to start to put in a map or a web all of the things that they see working or not working when they look at a system or a challenge, and just getting out there in circles or a web all these different connected pieces and start to think about how is this thing over here related to or interacting with this thing right here, or how's this piece right here potentially connected to or a part of this piece down here. It's the launching point for people to start thinking about and identifying balancing or reinforcing loops, those things that either keep things going in the direction that we're not wanting them to go, or those things that are ultimately pulling down things that we're wanting to go in a new direction. Now, there's a whole set of traditions and research around systems mapping, so this can get really detailed, and there's whole papers and people build careers out of systems mapping in and of itself. This is not about creating those kinds of maps. It's really just about getting people, again, to surface what they are experiencing or see at play, so we can start getting them to be more of a systems thinker. It's not about building the perfect map, it's just starting to visualize some of those pieces. And so oftentimes I'll remind folks that this is one of those things that if you're doing it right. You don't need to worry about it being perfect, there's no answer key, just getting them to adopt some of those principles and approaches.
So I think having an example system can really be helpful in folks understanding what systems are and even what a map might be. And one of my favorite examples of a system is a HVAC system or a heating cooling system in your house. It's actually a really good example, not only to help people understand what we mean by systems and feedback loops, but also what we mean by there's a difference between an expert map versus a map enough to understand it. So, if your HVAC technician might draw a really detailed plan around how to install it and how the system behaves, and especially the manufacturer is going to have a really, really detailed, systematic kind of diagrams of how that system works, and they test it under lots of different circumstances. But as a homeowner trying to make a few decisions about how I might adapt things in my home, a simple understanding of the fact that I've got an air conditioner blowing in cold air, I've got a thermostat measuring that temperature, I've got a window that's kind of leaky that's letting cold air out or hot air get in, and just starting to examine things about my house around what might not be insulated very well, where might there be issues that might be causing negative feedback loops and ultimately warming up the house when I'm trying to cool it. So it's thinking about things in those terms is what it's about, and about just getting enough of understanding so we could start to think this way and start making some small changes.